So I was always a fat kid. Let's start the video. Hi guys, I am back again, and in today's video I am going to be talking about something that is quite personal to me. It's something that is a huge part of my life, and I just wanted to share it with you guys in case any of you might find this information useful. And that is, in summary, how I lost 10 kg, which is about 20 pounds. I'm not really sure about the conversion. Yeah, so today's video will be on that. And I will be highlighting the top 5 tips that I have for you guys based on like my years of experience with like dieting and stuff like that, and how I feel about dieting and what I did exactly to lose and keep the weight off. I don't really like to use the term weight loss because when we talk about weight loss, it can be muscle mass loss or it can be water weight. So like weight loss is not necessarily always a good thing, but these are the things that I did to lose weight, which is like to lose fat. So I was always a fat kid and I never really liked sports and all that kind of thing. If you guys see my picture when I was 10 years old, I was obese. I don't think I was obese, like technically obese, but I am very fat. I used to eat a lot. I remember that my mom would buy those packet pastas and I can eat 2 of that for lunch. And after lunch, I would go to the gas station to buy snacks or like desserts. So I always get ice cream and I can finish the whole Ben & Jerry's tub of ice cream. And I used to think it was healthy because I bought the cherry gazia flavor, and since cherry is a fruit, I thought it was healthy, so I would eat the whole tub. And I'll also buy those mini Oreos because I didn't want to get fat, so I didn't want the big ones. But when I bought the mini Oreos, I would finish the whole bag, so it just defeats the purpose. So that was my childhood days, man. I used to eat a lot. After eating those snacks, I would wait for dinner because I was always looking forward to eating. And for dinner, I would just have like 2 servings of rice. I used to have supper as well, and I just ate a lot as a kid, man, and I was overweight. Okay, another thing is that I used to eat McDonald's and I could eat 2 medium fries on my own. I used to douse it with mayonnaise. I'm sorry if it sounds gross, but it's super good. Last time in Singapore, McDonald's had mayonnaise, so I used to finish like 3 packets of that with my 2 medium fries. And I'll get a cheeseburger, and after that I would always have McFlurry because who doesn't like McFlurry? I would dip my fries in that as well. So I ate like a lot as a kid, and that's why I was fat, and I didn't know anything about nutrition or whatever. But I remember that when I was about 12, my brother told me to diet because I would get bullied in school. So I just did a lot of yo-yo dieting. The first thing that I searched for online was a fasting diet. So I would only drink soups, and it just made me feel terrible. I lost a lot of weight, but now thinking back, I would assume that it's just water weight because I just put it back on during the weekends. Okay, the funny thing was that I would eat like soups only for maybe 3 days. The diet was like 3 days, and then after that they will tell you to go back to your own normal diet, which doesn't make any sense, but that's what I did. And I always gave myself a cheat day when I was younger, so I would go to buffets every weekend. Yeah, so I would do my 3-day soup diet and go to a buffet every weekend. So yeah, that was why I was fat. I just didn't know anything about nutrition, and I did all those yo-yo diets that made me feel so terrible, and I lost a lot of water weight, and it just screwed up my metabolism. So I I don't recommend yo-yo diets at all. And that was when I was 12. As I grew up and I became like 15, 16, I was still yo-yo dieting. I was still into like not eating carbs. I just didn't eat carbs for lunch, and then after that I'll eat like a lot of ice cream. It didn't make sense. I don't know what I was doing. So that's why I'm going to be sharing with you guys my top 5 tips that I recommend you guys to follow if you really want to keep the weight off in a healthy and sustainable way. And this is how I actually lost my 10 kilos and kept it off. Tip number 1 is to not do any extreme dieting or exercise. So I don't want to advocate dieting because I believe that in order to be in a healthy weight, you should have a more balanced lifestyle. You should have a healthy lifestyle, and it's something that you should enjoy doing, because overall losing weight is about sustaining the weight that you have. It's very easy to lose weight. If you want to lose weight overnight, just don't eat. Just fast for maybe 3 days and you can lose all the weight. But the hardest part for a lot of people is to keep the weight off, and fat diets are just not good in the long term. Yes, you might lose like 5 kg, but you don't know if it's like water weight. You don't know if it's muscle mass. It's definitely not entirely fat loss. So that's why I also advocate doing weight loss in a more achievable way, because then you know that you are specifically losing fat and not just muscle, which is good for you. If there's anything that you can see results with overnight, then it's something that will not last eventually. Like for instance, when you are studying for your exam, I mean, everybody knows that you don't study on the day before the exam and expect to do well. It just doesn't work. And same with dieting or even anything with life. Okay, I'm just going to give you life advice right now, but with anything in life, overnight success is just not practical. It's just not reasonable. Just as I believe that the amount that you took to get to this weight right now, you cannot get rid of it overnight, and you should just get rid of that thinking. You always need to invest time for it to be able to pay off. So if you think that by restricting your calories drastically in a day you are able to lose more weight, yes, but it's not something that you can keep off for the rest of your life, and it's not sustainable. It does more harm than good. So it's important to just don't do any extreme dieting or any over exercising. Tip number 2 is avoid processed foods. I used to eat a lot of processed foods. I still do actually, but not to the extent that I ate in the past. I just try to have more whole foods in my diet. I know they always say like calories in, calories out is all that matters, but I think that the food that you put in your body also matters as well, because if you eat a lot of processed foods, you tend to overeat, and this is how you have a caloric surplus, is when you eat more than you're supposed to eat. I try to avoid processed foods as much as possible because of the fact that I have a huge appetite. You guys know me, I can eat a lot, and if I don't control myself, I will just go back to my old ways of being overweight. These foods are scientifically engineered to make you want to eat more. Potato chips and Oreos and like all those things that come in a bag, or even Ben & Jerry's ice cream. I used to eat that a lot when I was fat, and it's something that I can eat the whole bag of, and it's insane because there's so many calories inside it. I find that when you don't eat processed foods, it's very difficult to overeat. Have you ever heard someone say that, oh, I ate so much apples that I gained weight? It's just not possible to eat so many calories of apples as opposed to this amount of like potato chips. So you can definitely see how you will overeat when you eat processed foods. So save yourself the trouble and just don't eat processed foods, and you'll definitely see a lot of difference in your body. So tip number 3 is to be a smart consumer. I used to be like a victim of advertising. If a bread says like gluten-free, I would immediately buy it because I think that it's healthier for me. But gluten-free bread has probably the same amount of calories as like a normal white bread. it's just gluten-free, which doesn't do anything for you unless you are allergic to gluten. So just be a smart consumer, and just because it says organic doesn't mean that it's healthier. The company can say anything that they want to say, and people just buy it because of the terms used to describe it. The nutrient content of these foods are not particularly impressive. The addition of these kinds of like buzzwords make you think that they are healthy and make you buy them. And tip number 4 is to not stock up on unhealthy foods at home. My mom loves to buy junk food. Like, she loves to stock up on chocolates, ice creams, cakes, everything. When she goes out, she always comes back with sweets. Because I have such a sweet tooth, I cannot control myself, so I always end up eating everything in the fridge, and this caused me to gain a lot of weight. So if possible, you need to tell your family members, or if you are living at home alone, then just don't buy foods that are not good for you at home. Why would you put yourself through so much trouble to force yourself not to eat the thing in front of you when you can just not buy it and not see it? Stock up your fridge with fruits and vegetables, and you'll find yourself loving these natural foods more. I always find myself so lazy to go out and buy the junk on my own that if I don't have it at home, I just won't eat it. I will just eat anything that I have at home. So that is a smart tip from me. Just don't buy any unhealthy junk at home and you won't eat it. Number 5, don't use food as your coping mechanism. So it's important to identify your triggers and what makes you start eating. Is it when you're bored? Is it when you're stressed? When you're hungry? I experienced it for a majority of my life. When I'm bored, I just go to the fridge and I'll eat something. If you stock up on unhealthy foods at home, when you're bored, the only thing you're going to eat is unhealthy foods that will cause you to gain weight. But if you stock up on fruits and vegetables, when you're bored, you just eat fruits and vegetables. It's also not healthy to use food as a coping mechanism. So if you find yourself stressed or bored, try to think of other things instead of food. Do something that can take your mind off food. So most likely it's a habit for you to go to the fridge to eat food when you're bored, when you're stressed. And the only way to get rid of this habit is to inculcate new habits that can replace your existing behavior. If I feel bored, I don't go to the fridge anymore. I try to do work and do something productive. And it took very long for me to get here. Of course, there are days when I'm bored and at the same time a bit hungry, then I will get food to eat. But if I'm just pure bored, then I will try to distract myself with other things, doing something creative or doing schoolwork. Really identify your triggers and find new habits to replace them. Alright guys, so I hope that you guys liked this video. I would probably do a part 2 because I have some more tips, but I just cannot think about it off the top of my head right now. If you guys want to see more of these videos, you can leave a comment down in the comment section down below, and I will try my best to make another video. Yeah, so I'll see you guys in the next video.